What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another SLA video. Alright guys, hot topic. Is Goto worth it or not? Now, I want to make this absolutely clear for everybody. It all depends on the content you're looking for. We're live currently on YouTube, so everybody watching on YouTube say, what's up? We're doing our testing, so I'm going to show you guys some results with our testing, and we're going to give you guys what I think right now versus what we may find in the future. And I want to make this absolutely clear. This testing has only been going on for, 4 hours right now. It's not enough to fully determine whether something is going to be worthwhile yet, but I do want to make sure you guys see what we've discovered, and I'll give you guys my advice on what I think you should do with Goto and what you should not do with Goto, okay? So first thing I want to talk about is the sets that we used and everything that we've done with him. So let's go over the testing. So first off, just so you guys are aware, we started with A3 Goto testing. We did Mirai, Hansimi, and Goto. And where's the sweet spot for free-to-play? A4, A5. There's really no other way to go about it. The reason why you want to go A4 for Goto specifically is because he also boosts any units damage by 24% in the third slot, and that's a huge damage boost. And by the way, it applies to himself as well, and we'll show more of that as well too. But you guys can see here in the passives right here, he does provide that at A4, and that's something you definitely want to have. So the damage of the third hunter in the team increases by 24%, but their damage taken also increases by 12%. So this can apply to him or any, doesn't matter if it's wind or not, any unit that you have on the third position. Another thing I want to clear up real quick, and you can check this in the live stream, is don't worry about the increase in overall MP usage right here. The user skill mana consumption increased by 33%. This is easily offset by using Hansimi. A lot of people were worried about Mirai. We tested. She barely ever lost MP. And if you have the proper core right here on, she's not going to struggle with MP whatsoever. So Hansimi, this core, Mirai has no problems. So don't worry about that. It will definitely help if you have her in the third slot and she's your main DPS. All right. So for anyone using him, A4, A5, free to play. But we're going to talk more about if he's worth it or not, all right? In terms of gear sets, you can go 8-piece Greed if you like, or 4-piece Greed and 4-piece Obsidian, or 4-piece Curse, 4-piece Obsidian, depending how you want to play him. This is probably the best set you're going to get. In regards to stats, what you want to focus on mostly is HP. You guys can see I have 70k HP. You want to focus on crit damage, crit hit rate especially because it converts to crit damage for him, and then damage increase, all right? Those are the main things you kind of want to work on. His weapon, of course, does help as well. Using the Reverse Tempest or Stormblade increases the user's critical hit rate by 30% for 15 seconds, and there's no cooldown on this. So the more you use this, the better. At A5, you can use those skills twice, letting you do more of that crit rate increase, obviously, which will boost him. Now, what makes Goto really good is he's an incredibly powerful DPS hybrid. Okay, so he can break really well, and at the same time, he can do a lot of damage. So we're going to show you guys what we did result-wise and what we got. So you guys can see here, A3 Goto did almost the same amount of damage as Mirai. All right, we got 385 versus 471. It wasn't that much of a difference in the first run, but Mirai only had 30k attack. So I raised Mirai's attack to about 35k here, and the difference started showing at A4. Okay, so A4, Mirai in the third position, you guys can see 326 versus 614. As her power went up, his attack was about the same. Her skyrocketed. Now, when you switch A4 and put Goto in the third position, he actually did a lot better. You can see here her numbers went down, his numbers went up. Almost about the same amount that it went down, his numbers went up. So we did A5 testing. A5 testing, Goto's numbers, of course, went up from the 326 to 393. And then hers obviously went up because in fourth position, right? So a little bit of RNG boosted her damage a little bit there. You guys can see it's about 100 million there. When you put Goto in the third position at A5, you guys can see her numbers again went down. His numbers again went up, right? Again, if you look 402, 457, again, almost the same increase as before. And then when we went to A10, the numbers, of course, stayed fairly consistent, but where it kind of went up a lot, not a lot, but I mean enough. You can see at A10, Goto being in third spot did almost as much as Mirai. So from a damage perspective, Goto does extremely well. From a Brave perspective, sorry guys, I'm moving my screen here. From a Brave perspective, he does really, really well. Is he the best breaker in the game? I would say no. I would still say that He's still the best breaker in the game, or Harper, but he's very close. But he's a much better DPS than both of them. So take that as you will, all right? Now, I'm going to show you guys Guild Boss real quick, because Guild Boss, I find he didn't add any value to Guild Boss. I put in we did a couple different variations, as a matter of fact, and he did well himself overall, but the whole team itself kind of lowered in their damage output. So when it comes down to Guild Boss, I don't think he adds enough value, but again, I would let more experts like Mouse and stuff work with that. He's much better at Guild Boss, so I'll be waiting his results. But my results is I don't think he has a place in Guild Boss just yet. Again, I could be wrong because I was using him with Mirai and Hansimi. We put him in also with Kanae and removed Gina. The outcome was worse. We put him in with Thomas and Gunhee. Outcome was worse. So Cha did better with there. Gina did better with there. And then Choi and Lee Bora, much better score. So I mean, we're talking about like 6 or 7 billion more damage without him in there. So I think overall, he doesn't add any value to Guild Boss. Okay. Now also keep in mind that the existing WOBL right over here is also resistant to wind. Okay. So at the current state as it stands, the Commander of Transfiguration has no business in there. Right. You guys can see wind damage will do less. He'll do less break damage. So Goto will give you no value in WOBL. So very important to remember that. So as it stands right now, here's what Goto is useful for. All right. And again, this is all based on your own gameplay. If you like the character and what you're trying to improve. Battlefield of Time. I think he's going to excel in Battlefield of Time. I think he's going to do incredibly well in Battlefield of Time. I think he's going to kill it. Okay. Because he does AoE. He does a lot of damage. He does fast breaks and he's a quick attacker. So I think Battlefield of Time, he'll be incredible. He's also going to be really, really good in the current simulation because current simulation is, in fact, what he's built for, and that is going to be wind and dark. So he's going to kill simulation for sure. Okay, so think of Thomas. When Thomas came out, he was great for what? He was great for Luxus, and he was great for another boss for Encore, right? And then he was great for simulation, but there was no other content to do outside of that, except for story mode. So he'll be great for simulation, and he's also going to most likely be really good for the Encores because, of course, they're built for wind right now. Outside of that content, there's really no other use for him. So this could be a Thomas scenario where, again, he's going to excel for the first month, and then he's going to be useless for now, and then maybe good later. Or it might be a use-to-use situation where we're not going to see the usability for a couple months. So as it stands right now, I would suggest 2 things. Number 1, for free-to-play players, I'm not pulling for him. So save. Number 2, give us a few more days. Give us like at least 3 or 4 more days. Let the other content creators come up with their testing. Let my Discord and my testers come up with their testing and see what's the result that we get. I think having a 4-hour test for a unit this hyped and a unit this complex with content that really isn't revolved around endgame content is really hard to give you guys the proper advice. So my suggestion here, guys, for everybody is save. Save for now. Wait 3 or 4 days. Again, let some of the other content creators, including myself, come up with more test strategies and where he's useful for, and then decide whether you want to go for him or not. Right now, as it stands, he's not a must-have. Is he great? Sure. Is he a must-have? Absolutely not. And I'm only saying this because there's really no end-game content revolving around wind right now. And again, that could definitely change at any time. All right, so I want to throw that out there. And that's my advice to this. So take that as you will. And hopefully if you have any comments or questions, guys, let me know in the comment section, of course. I'll be more than happy to answer it. Thank you for watching. Going back to the live stream, guys. I'll see you shortly.